केशव जय नंद मुकुंद नंद गोविंद राधे गोपाल जय नंद मुकुंद नंद गोविंद राधे गोपाल गोविंद गोपाल केशव गोविंद माधव गोपाल केशव गोविंद माधव गोपाल केशव गोविंद
Hari Om. Just one small announcement before we head into our session. Our Guruji's inimitable style is that he likes to engage participants in a dialogue during the session. Can I request you all to switch on your video to active mode, please? This way we also can experience a virtual satsang. However, if you wish not to activate your video, we will respect your decision. You could also use the chat box to post any questions, and Guruji will certainly like to answer them. Hari Om.
Chapter 4 tonight.
Chant Om Preet.
Sahana vavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harishi, can I request you all to mute everybody's microphone, please? We shall chant chapter 4, verses 31 to 40. Thank you. Yajna Shishtamrita Bhujaha Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokostya Yajnasya Kutonya kuru sattama. Evam bahuvidha yajnaha vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidhitan sarvan evam jnatva vimokshase. Shreyan dravyamayat yajnat jnana yajnah parantapa sarvam karmakhilam partha jnane parisamapyate tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninastatvadarshinaha yajñātvā na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava ena bhutanyasheshena drakshyasyatmanyatho mayi api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamaha sarvam jnanalpavenaiva vrajinam samtarishyasi yathaidhamsi samidhognihi bhasmasat kuruterjuna jnanagnih sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tatha nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate tatsvayam yoga samsiddhaha kalenatmani vindati shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparah samyatendriyaha jnanam labdhva param shantim achirenadhigacchati agnyascha shraddhadhanascha samshayatma vinashyati nayam lokosti na paraha na sukham samshayatmanaha. Can I request the screen to be brought to verse 34 translation, please? Perfect. Just for a moment and thereafter you can remove it. So welcome those who are joining us today for the first time for the Bhagavad Gita classes. And what a verse to join in. In fact, last week we have just got into the 34th verse of chapter 4, one of the most beautiful, most salient verses. Let's read the translation and then perhaps we keep that in mind when I sail you through this. So the 34th verse says, know that by prostration, by questioning, and by service, the wise who have realized the truth will instruct you the knowledge. Okay, so this verse gives qualities of a student. What are the three qualities of a student? And one who has these qualities, one who is endowed with these three qualities, he says a competent guru, a sage, a wise man who has realized the truth will come and instruct you the knowledge. So how does these three qualities help a student? The three qualities are, at the intellectual level, he says, prashnena. Prashnena, you must question the knowledge. I'll explain them in detail. Firstly, he says you must, a student is no student if you don't question the knowledge. Now here, you're not trying to question the teacher, but you're only questioning the knowledge. You're trying to question the understanding. Then he says, pranipatena, you got to question with an element of devotion. Devotion at the mental level. And then at the physical level, he says, sevaya, you must serve the Guru. So 3 disciplines at 3 levels of the personality. Now, how do these 3 qualities help a spiritual seeker? See, the more you have these qualities, the more you realize that your receptacles are tuned in. Your receptacles are tuned in, you will be far more receptive to the knowledge given by the Guru. It's like there is a transmission happening. As you know, there are constantly these radio waves that are all the time around us. There's a specific channel that's constantly adding a particular music or a particular broadcast. I can have a transmitter, I can have a receiver, perhaps a radio receiver at my end. But if I don't fine tune to that specific decimal number, it could be 95.2. I could be at 95, I could be at 95.3. I'll not get the reception. I'll miss the message. So in order to receive the knowledge being given by the Guru, it is essential, I would rather say it is imperative. It is very important that as a student, I should have these qualities. So to the extent you have these qualities, to that extent, the knowledge will serve you better. It's how you should understand that. So you can have it in degree, or you may not have it at all. A student who doesn't have these qualities, he doesn't qualify himself to be a student. So let's get to the first quality, prashnena. At the intellectual level, he says, you got to question the knowledge. Now, when you question it, by no means you are getting into a spirit of challenging the teacher, please. I certainly believe there are none of this order here in the classroom today. But over the years of being continuously speaking for over 25 years of my life, I've seen in certain classrooms, you find there are students who come with a certain other objective. In fact, it is said in the Gita, there are 3 types of students who come to a Guru. And it's worth mentioning here. One category of student, now it's for you to find out where do you belong. It's not for me to judge. It's for you to find out where do you belong. One category of student comes to the teacher with a clear objective of finding out how much the teacher knows. Oh, I have knowledge of the Gita. I have studied, in fact, to be precise, I have studied chapter 4 quite a few times. I want to know, how is this fellow going to interpret the chapter 4? So you're constantly trying to gauge every word, every breath, every tone of mine with your understanding. Okay, I would give him 40 marks here. I would give him 70 marks there. Oh, with reference to that point, I think he made a mess of it. He didn't really do any justice to that. So constantly you are evaluating the teacher. One set of people come with the objective of trying to gauge or assess how much the teacher knows. And the second category of people come with a clear objective of wanting to showcase their knowledge to the teacher, how much they know. And we are in an era where we are inundated with knowledge and information, isn't it? You can rattle off the Shastras, you can rattle off the Vedas, you can be very poetic, you can be very pedantic, you can be a great orator, you're well versed. We're all self-acclaimed gurus where we seem to know everything. All what we need is we need a landing here, and then we keep talking. How easy is to lecture? I don't have to tell that to you, isn't it? It's very easy to lecture to others. So you get an opportunity, you just go all out. So I've had a few students in the course of my going to classrooms and teaching this knowledge. There are a few who belong to these first two categories. But the third type of student, he goes to a teacher only to learn. And when you do that, you must have that unique capacity to put aside your understanding. You must put aside your wisdom and learn to receive. I'm not telling you to surrender, please. There is a world of difference in just receiving the knowledge vis-a-vis surrendering to the teacher. Surrendering is a totally different ball game. That perhaps raises the bench to a very high level. If any one of you say, sir, I have surrendered to this knowledge, I tell you, truly my prostrations to you. If you have surrendered to the knowledge, it's a completely different thing. I know you are fascinated with this knowledge. You have a great value for this knowledge. You understand what this knowledge is saying, but that's a world of difference between a deep appreciation vis-a-vis a genuine surrender to it. There's a world of difference. There's a total difference to it. So the third category of student puts aside his understanding, comes to the teacher to receive. So receiving the knowledge without constantly evaluating what is coming, whether it's right or wrong. Receiving means, okay, let me ask you all this. When a student goes to a teacher to receive knowledge, what should he do? I said receiving. Receiving means, you all have the chat box. Try to throw in your answers. As I've said, I would love to interact with you all. If somebody wants to say, please say something. Okay. Somebody has said it is accepting, it is listening. I said the third category of student goes into receive the knowledge. What do you mean receiving? Listening to understand and process, clarifying your doubts, devotion, listening, accepting, mentally prepared, practicing, or somebody has gone to the level of practicing. In fact, some of you have captured receiving means simply receiving it. That's all. You don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to complicate it. When somebody gives something to you, you just receive it gracefully, isn't it? And if a guru is giving knowledge to you, you can't have any further arrogance or any audacity to tamper with it. Just receive it. Receive it with the patra, as they say. You must have the patra to receive the knowledge. Having received the knowledge, you go through the process of it. You try to make sense of it. What relevance has the knowledge got to do to my life? Has there any rational backing to it? What is the pros and cons? All that you do thereafter. But at the time of receiving, if you are constantly filtering, you have not received all what is given. I remember getting this compliment from my guru many a time in the classroom. I was young, as you all know, I was just 16. And one of the benefits of going early to this knowledge is to be empty. I didn't have any preconceived notions. I did not know anything. So I didn't have to undo anything. And that will be the challenge with most of you all, because I see you all have had the experience with you. You have already have the understanding. So at times it may challenge your understanding and perceptions. So you may have to undo certain concepts, revisit them. But I didn't have that issue because for simple reason, I did not know anything. Imagine there are two tumblers. One is an empty tumbler. Another tumbler is full of water. And I am just transferring the contents from this tumbler to that tumbler. There's nothing here. But imagine this tumbler is 80%, 3/4 over is full. And if I'm transferring the contents, very soon it'll be a spillover. Nothing can be received. Now you got to ask yourself, to what extent are you full? To what extent are you empty? So to receive this knowledge, bring in your empty personality. You may know a lot, but bring in your empty self and then receive all the knowledge that's coming your way. So a third category of student goes to the knowledge with this spirit of learning. Now, once he has the right spirit, then he goes about it with the spirit of questioning. You don't accept anything just because it is said by the Guru. You don't accept it because it is said by Lord Krishna or by a Mahatma or because it is mentioned by many a people. You accept it on its own merit. It must appeal to your reason. So the exercise at the intellectual level is to question the knowledge, not with arrogance. So just to ensure whenever you question, there could be a possibility of arrogance slipping in, he instantly, immediately says the second quality. The second quality of a student is pranipatena. Pranipatena means you must have this attitude of devotion, prostration. See, a guru gives this knowledge with so much of love, so much of feeling. He feels for the receiver. It is important that the student also develops a certain amount of identification with the guru. And if that identification isn't there, if you treat a guru like a stranger or an unknown person and distance yourself mentally, you will not be able to get closer to the teachings. Though the teachings, nothing belongs to the guru, but the guru is a via media, a means how the knowledge is wisdom or flowing through him. And if you want to receive it, you must have that devotion to the teacher. So the question is, how much do you identify with the guru? So questioning is a role of the intellect, the buddhi. In a layman's term, you call it the head. Devotion is an element of the mind, which is the heart. So what's happening is your head and heart are both at the feet of the guru. You've surrendered. This is surrender, where your head and heart are completely, as we call it as sharanagati. So you must first and foremost surrender to the knowledge and then surrender to the guru. Then only you get help, isn't it? So prashnena, you got to question with devotion. And then at the physical level, he says a true attribute of a student is to serve, he says. Prashnena, pranipatena, sevaya, by service. Now, here there's a possibility that you might misunderstand this quality. Now, where is the possibility of misunderstanding this quality? Now, who is telling the student to serve? And let me bring you to the focus in case you have lost your focus. From all whom I see on the screen, they all are very much in focus. Now, who is telling whom to serve? As I've said, there's a possibility of misunderstanding here. Yes, the guru himself is telling the student to serve him. Nothing short of it. So there is nothing more for you to think here. The guru is telling the student, serve me. So isn't it very much possible that the student misunderstands the guru? Look at this fellow. He is so demanding. He wants the student to serve him. Look at his conditions. Look at his demands. Now, the objective is not to receive anything from a student. A true guru gives this knowledge unconditionally, no conditions. So the guru is giving with the purest of thought of service and sacrifice, with the only objective of uplifting you. If that is the objective of the teacher, and if the student were to receive the knowledge with a selfish perspective of just because it is coming my way, I will receive it, I will grapple it, all what is given, I will take it, without being mindful of that act of being grateful or thankful for what is given, the student becomes selfish and self-centered, isn't it? If the student receives the knowledge without acknowledging, without being grateful, without being thankful for the teachings, the student becomes selfish, which is very, very much against the very purpose of receiving this knowledge, which is to shed your ego and your selfishness and to grow spiritually. So to kickstart that process of evolution, a teacher tells the student to start serving him first, and then you go out and serve the world and humanity at large. As we don't learn in English language, isn't it said, charity begins at home? You can't serve your own family, you can't serve your own kith and kin, you can't have an unselfish spirit in your own family. How can you think of others, man? You got to learn to serve. Sevaya. In fact, this quality of service is highlighted throughout the scriptures. In fact, if you go one step further in the Shastras, even before the knowledge is given, the student is tested through the spirit of service. This is truly a quality which defines a student. If you go back to the Vedic times, a student would have trekked the jungles, gone into the woods with the hope of finding a man with knowledge. And when he finds a person sitting there, he goes and asks him to give him the Atma Vidya, to teach him the knowledge of the higher. Because he is already done with the worldly activities. He doesn't have any more interest in them. He wants to learn the higher. And he believes here is a man. No guarantee he can teach him, but he believes there's no necessity to doubt him either. There's no guarantee he can teach him. There is no necessity to doubt him, but he surrenders to that man and says, "Oh man, oh Guru, can you please teach me this knowledge?" But the Guru says, "You come back after 2 months. I'm very busy." Busy doing what? Nothing. He's simply sitting, nothing. It's not that he has got a busy calendar. Is he traveling the world doing anything? No, he's simply sitting and gazing into thin air. And the master says, "Come after 2 months." And what the student says, okay, the master is very busy. He thinks too much of himself. Never mind. I'll go to another teacher. No. A true student will never say that. So what he does, he waits, he serves for those 2 months. He does whatever a guru needs. He will go perhaps to the woods, he'll cut wood for him, bring water, cook for him, serve him, wash his clothes, whatever seva is needed, he'll do. And the guru is silently watching all this. At the end of 2 months, the student goes up to the master and reminds, "The clock has passed. Can you please give me that Atma Vidya? Can you please give me this knowledge?" And that's when the student is worthy of receiving. So the knowledge is only given to an adhikari. So what you got to understand is this verse talks about the 3 qualities of a student which make him an adhikari, worthy of receiving this knowledge. If you don't have it, you automatically disqualify yourself. No guru will say, "I will not teach you," but the knowledge will not serve you. The guru might teach you the knowledge, but it will not serve you in your progression. So take a particular note of this verse, chapter 4, verse 34. Okay. Now let's move on. Let's go to verse 35. Is it possible to share that screen so everybody can chant the verse together? Is it already there? Is the verse already there for you all?
No.
No, the verse isn't there. All right. Okay. Okay. I think request you all to just get a hold of any text of the Gita, because at least you will have the Sanskrit text, and thereafter I'll read out the translation which we are following, which will give you an idea. Okay, so verse 35, let's chant together twice. Please chant along with me. Yajñātvāna punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanyasheshena drakshyasyatmanyatho mayi. Yajñātvāna punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanyasheshena drakshyasyatmanyatho mayi. Okay, wonderful. The translation, please. Knowing that you shall not again get deluded. Punaha. Punaha means again. Moham is deluded. Oh Pandava, by that you shall see all beings in the self, also in me. Okay. Knowing that you shall not again get deluded. Now verses 35, 36, 37. So if you have followed 34, the knowledge would have blessed you. Truly you have received the wisdom from the Guru, the knowledge. Now 35, 36 and 37 talks about the effects this knowledge has on a person at 3 different levels of your personality. So 35 talks from a point of view of your intellect, with reference to the intellect. So here he says, knowing that you shall not again get deluded. So what he's saying is, where there is knowledge, or in fact, no, you need to please understand these two usage of terms. When the Shastras or scriptures use knowledge, it means wisdom. When they mean that you know it, they mean you must live it. So from their point of view, knowing something is living by it. Oh, I know I must be upright. I know I must be honest, but sorry, I don't practice it. Oh, that is in our language. We know what honesty is, but we don't practice honesty. We know what it is to be upright, but we don't practice uprightness. I know that it is important to lead a disciplined life, but the question is, am I leading a disciplined life? That is okay. That is secondary. So in our aspect, in our understanding, there is a disparity between knowing and living. Therefore, we bring in the concept of jnanam and vijnanam. Jnanam is information. Vijnanam is digested knowledge. When the knowledge is digested and absorbed by you, it translates, trickles into your life. You start living it unknowingly. In fact, anything which is done effortlessly is a part of you, isn't it? The more you put in effort to learn something, it is not a part of you. When it's a part of you, others notice it. You don't notice it that much. So when he says, with reference to intellect, which is the product of wisdom, now you got to understand this. Also differentiate between mere information and intellect. Intellect is a product of wisdom. Where there is wise knowledge of wisdom, you have the clarity of thought. And where there is intellect, he says there is no delusion, moha. So here he says, knowing that refers to the 34th verse, knowing the knowledge, one who learns the knowledge, which is the wisdom, instantly there will be no more delusion. Now, what is delusion? What is your understanding of delusion?
Maya.
Delusion, somebody said Maya. Okay, very good. But what is What is further to Maya? What is your understanding? Even you can give me the dictionary meaning. What is delusion? No clarity, all right? No clarity, ignorance, desires. Now, I don't think delusion is desires, but believing something that is not there. That's true, very true. When does not know what the reality is. Yes, worldly activities, perhaps it's little far-fetched, but you can say that something which is not comprehensible. All right, interesting feedback I'm getting. Lovely. This is what I want. I would like to interact with you all. So delusion is a state where you don't see what is meant to be seen. You see something other than the truth. You see something other than the reality. Where you get clouded, you get confused. You don't see, you don't have the clear perception. But where there is knowledge, where there is wisdom, you clearly see things as they are. And the state of Arjuna is in a complete state of delusion, isn't it? He doesn't see things as they were meant to be seen. As you all know, Arjuna was preparing for a battle. He was fighting, he was about to fight a battle for a righteous cause. He prepared for 13 long years. He knew the atrocities done by his own royal cousins. There was total anarchy. There was complete destruction of culture and values in the society. And Arjuna had to revive them. And as a leader of the army, he had to lead the army into a war. It was not war between the two royal cousins. It was a war between, how does the Gita start? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha, which means the land of dharma had become the land of adharma. So he embarked on a journey to bring back the land of adharma into dharma. Now, with all that planning and preparation, when he plunged into action, what happened? It completely clouded his perception. He failed to see that, and he got carried away with the emotions of his guru, of his cousins, of his grandsire, and he got emotional, got carried away. And thereafter he went arguing, he kept upholding his decision that he wanted to withdraw from the battle. Can you imagine that? So this is what the state of not Arjuna, this is the state of most of us. The problem is a person with delusion never sees that he is deluded. He thinks he's very clear. He knows exactly what life is. I know what life is. I know what I got to do. By the time I'm 40, I must reach this. By the time I'm 45, I must get that. By the time I'm 55, I must have this much savings, that security, this much investments. I must have done this and done that. My God, that guy has such clarity. And the entire planning and scheming and all that programming gone for a 6. Very interesting. I was in touch with a couple of my friends yesterday, just over after a long time connecting with them. And then very interesting, he works in a travel industry, and he was updating me, which is sadly one of the toughest industries to have endured the last 3-4 months, and know not how long they have to endure, what these tough times have put them through. And he was saying how, and he is in the cream of that management, and he heads the entire South India. It's a very reputable organization, and he heads the South India. And he said to what extent they all have lost their jobs, to what extent the company had to sack the salaries, to what extent people had to compromise or sacrifice just to make a living, just to have a minimum. So how do you handle all that? How do you handle all that eventualities and shortcomings of life? You may have your plans and programs, but you can't see the reality, things as they are. And when things like that happen, you can't handle them. So once you gain this knowledge, you start seeing the reality. Now remember, often in the Shastras, we are given an example of okay, there's a Hari is asking a question, very relevant question. The question is, what is the difference between illusion and you must help me first. What is the dictionary meaning? Both are the same or are they different? See, I have not come that prepared. You have to, please don't test me. You're putting me in a public platform and you're putting me on Facebook Live and asking me such tough questions. Please, you're revealing my ignorance now. Now, what is the difference? What is the dictionary meaning of illusion? Okay, illusion is false perception. Illusion is you see something, but it is a distorted view. Delusion is mind confusion. Now, I am in a deluded state now. I am truly deluded. Can somebody give me clarity? Ayo, I don't know what I'm getting into. So what is the difference between illusion and delusion, believing something that is not there? See, if you look at it from the both standpoints of what you have given, I would say there's no difference. Out of delusion, out of your own ignorance, you create something which is not there. Maya, which is illusion. Maya means not that. That which is not. So when you start seeing something which is other than what it is a state of delusion, it is an illusion. So you can use it synonymously. I wouldn't want to hair split here because the concept is what they all lead to the same thing. Now, I'll answer this question with an example. In fact, the reason I took that question was I was going into an example and you actually helped me. So glad you asked that question. See, this often in the Shastras, we're given this example of a boy, a young boy. He goes into his backyard late in the evening. It's already 6:37, it's already dark. And he goes into the backyard and all of a sudden, he seems to have stamped on something, his foot pressed on something soft and spongy. And he comes back running into the house, creating a hoo-ha that, mommy, 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 a snake has bitten me, snake has bitten me. And everybody in the house gets alarmed because the young boy is saying, snake has bitten me. And everybody gets to action, pick up whatever they can get a hold of. Some pick up a broomstick, another picks up a stick, and they go into the backyard. Where did you find a snake? Where did you find a snake? The boy says, I think I went there to search for my ball, and in that corner I found a snake. And the mother asked the question to the boy, could you see the snake? Yeah, I could see. It's already dark, huh? Already 7 p.m. It's quite dark in the backyard, in the corner under the tree. And his fellow says, yes, I have seen the snake. How big is the snake? Oh, it is quite big, very big. How big? I think it is, that fellow is only 2 feet. And he says, this big. Doesn't know description how to describe. He says, okay, it's 4 or 5 feet. He says the snake is 4 or 5 feet long. Oh, quite a big snake. What color was it? Jet black. Look at his clarity in description. Jet black. At 7 p.m. night under the tree in the darkness, he's describing the snake as jet black. Okay. And how thick it is? I think it is 1.5 inch or maybe more also. So that fellow is giving description. So, and very soon the mom understood what the boy was getting into. So the child is describing the quality of the snake as 5 feet long, black in color, 2 inches thick. And actually the mom, what she realized, that she kept the hose. They had garden that watered watered the garden that evening, and the pipe or the hose was kept in that corner of the garden. So when the boy went about describing, the mother clearly knew it is not the snake, but it is the hose. It's just the pipe. Or something like a rope lying there. So the reality is the horse or the rope. The illusion or the delusion is the snake. And yet the boy is complaining that the poisoning is rising into his leg and he's losing his consciousness, and he says, "Mommy, what are you doing? You're not giving me any treatment." And he's crying and he's complaining. This is all what these masters are saying. You have created a reality out of something which is a mere illusion, my dear. This is what the verse is saying. When that knowledge which was said, when you truly gain the wisdom of the Shastras, then what happens? You will be free. You will not get deluded, O Pandava, Arjuna. So what is the experience of a man of delusion? He sees something which is not. Now, what are you seeing? What am I seeing? Perhaps it's this little extreme. You can take the concept to a very high level, very, very subtle level, but I will not go that high, but I'll just give you a glimpse of it. We are all experiencing a world of reality, aren't we? We are all experiencing a world which is not just real, but the world is as real as a poisonous snake. It is actually hissing, it's actually stinging you, isn't it? Just like the boy complains of the snake, you're also complaining of your problems of life. Whether it could be loneliness, it could be financial problem, it could be relationship issues, it could be health issues, it could be getting paranoid as to what might happen with all this uncertainty of virus. Something is hitting you, something is bothering you, isn't it, all the time? Can we claim that I'm free and immune from all that's happening? Can we claim, sir? Why can't we claim? Because we are truly being tormented by the world. We are truly being affected by the world. Now, yet you are seeing an illusion. This is what the master is saying. It is exactly like the boy complaining of an illusory snake. You and I are complaining about a world which is just an illusion. It is not there. It is not there. It is all your own perception, your own creation. And now it's a long way to go to get there. Long way to go there. But all what we can do at least is look at life from a very clear perspective. Look at life clearly so that you can deal with it with a clarity. You don't get confused. You don't get paranoid. You are able to accept life what it is and deal with it. In fact, in the Bhajagovindam, in the 9th verse, if I'm not wrong, of Bhajagovindam, he gives the tool how you can get out of delusion. Very famous verse. He says, Sat sangatve nisangatvam nisangatve nirmohatvam nirmohatve nischalatatvam nischalatatve jivan muktihi. So there he gives the ladder of rise, how you can actually uplift yourself spiritually. And he says, satsang, from the association of the good comes about nisangatvam, non-attachment. Nisangatve nirmohatvam. From non-attachment comes freedom from delusion. This is what I am referring to. From association of the good comes non-attachment. From non-attachment comes freedom from delusion. When you are free from delusion, you have certain steadfastness in life. You're very clear, very steadfast. You're very disciplined. You have a path of consistency. You do things with steadfastness, and that steadfastness gives you liberation. Nischala tattvam. Nischala tattvam means you are not wandering. Your mind is not restless. Your mind is very discipline, and all of that comes from. So if you can pinpoint what is it that creates a delusion, what creates a delusion? is your own attachment. You are attached to things. You don't see things as they are meant to be seen. Let's say if a mother is terribly attached to the child, and the child is not doing well in the exams, the child becomes a victim of the attachment of the mother to the child. The mother is so obsessed with the well-being of the child, the mother is not able to bring rationality and deal with the child realistically. Isn't it? The sheer attachment of the mother to the child suffers, isn't it? Even though the mother wants the well-being of the child, but because of the attachment, the mother is not able to accept the failure of the child. That's what attachment does. But if the same mother was actually a teacher in the school, how does she handle the other children in the school? And how does he handle her own children? A world of difference. So when you get deluded, you get into a mental disorder. You don't see things as they should be seen. You create a Frankenstein of your life. That's what is a Frankenstein? I don't know how I'm pronouncing, because everybody nowadays correcting me how I should pronounce things. You know, I have someone who I'm a look up to. All the while I've been saying Mont Blanc, Mont Blanc, Mont Blanc. Ignorantly, I do not know. I said Mont Blanc, and that person came up to me and said, Guruji, it's not Mont Blanc, it is Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc. I said, should I swallow one or two words, or I have swallowed the most words? Nothing is coming out. Mont Blanc. Huh? And then I remember one of my students, I used to say Einstein. Guruji, it's not Einstein, it's Einstein. I said, my God, am I to start learning how to pronounce, or am I to convey the message? So what am I getting now? How do you spell Frankenstein? Frankenstein. This is what it is. So through the process of, I also have to do a lot now, unlearning. I am also seeing the ghost, correct? Self-created ghost. So the self-created ghost is Frankenstein to Frankenstein. Mont Blanc to Mont Blanc. And then where you must see the reality, you're seeing something other than the reality, my dear. So attachment to it, you don't see things as they should be seen. You make a Frankenstein of your things. You get completely carried away. Today, people get so obsessed with their own duties and responsibilities, isn't it? You get paranoid. You're making too much fuss about things, man. Why are you getting so confused and deluded? Now, when you get attached to anything, what you must, please take a note of this point. Whenever you get attached to anything, that attachment blinds you. That attachment limits you to that level alone. You can't see anything beyond it. That's what attachment does. So you fail to see the reality. Therefore, the message is, once you are free from delusion, he says, you shall see all beings as the self. Self is all pervading, isn't it? You will see the Atman, you will see the reality. Now what are we seeing? Those of you who were there in the other day, there was this interview on relationships just a few days ago, if I'm not wrong. If you were there, you'll remember I quoted another verse from Adi Shankaracharya where he said, Kshetrau mitre putre bandhau ma kuru yatnam vigraha sandhau. So he said that, you see an enemy, a friend, a son, a relative. You have created these varieties of relationships. You have created disparities. You have created distinctions based on color, caste, creed, status. country, region, religion, language. And all these differences and demarcations only create a disparity, a difference, a hatred. So if I look at you as different people coming from different ethnic backgrounds. I see you people different from different castes, different cultures, educated, uneducated, the North, the South, the Tamil, the Telugu, the white, the black, the brown, a Brahmana or a Shudra. You're not seeing the Atman. This, in fact, is the perception of being clouded in delusion or illusion. A perception, a man who is free from that clouding, he only sees the Atman everywhere. He sees the substratum everywhere. Now that's a long way to go, but at least we should not see the apparent differences. That's all we are saying. Now, if you want to start developing any hatred towards anything, you know what you should do? Put on the news channel. First thing in the morning, you put on the news channel, you will undoubtedly develop a hatred towards some individual, some community, or some country, because that will be being bombarded onto you that there is something wrong, terribly mistake done, and then you will only. So much so, I have been told that we should not take classes on Zoom. There are two parties. One party is saying Zoom is Chinese, so we will not do it. Another party is saying, no, Zoom is not Chinese, Zoom is American. Yeah, it is owned by an American Chinese. Therefore, there's Chinese element in it. We will not take it. I said, where is Vedanta gone into you? No Vedanta there. Just because some American Chinese own Zoom, I will not teach Vedanta through Zoom. All my Vedanta has gone out of Zoom. There's all nothing there, all empty. You're only zooming somewhere in thin air. What is going on? Just because somebody says, you develop a hatred. Huh? Has Chinese come and taken over your property? Has Chinese come and usurped your belongings and your bank account? Are you left on the streets? How are you directly affected by them? Why? No, I am a patriot, as if I am not. Why should you have a hatred towards anything or anyone in particular? I'm not telling you to go and get stationed in China. I'm not saying that, but there should not be any ill feeling. So the more this knowledge comes into you, what happens is you start embracing, you start seeing a commonness, you start seeing a oneness. That is what the gist of the verse is. I think there's a question from PS. I don't know what the PS means, but okay. Guruji, is it ignorance or attachment that causes delusion? Is it ignorance? Oh, PS is PS. Okay, right. PS is Pradama Shishya. So for a moment, I couldn't attune to that. Okay, Pradama Shishya. Pradama Shishya is Jaya Raman. There you are. She's titled herself as PS only. Huh? The one on to the right side top of your screen, she's raising her hand. Huh? Okay. Now, the question is it ignorance or attachment that causes delusion? Philosophically speaking, everything stems from avidya. The root cause of all the problems in one's life is avidya. Avidya is ajnanam, which is ignorance. So because of ignorance comes desires, because of ignorance comes attachments, because of ignorance comes delusion. Because did we not say that it is your own attachment that causes delusion? And what is the cause of attachment? Is your desire. And what's the cause of desire? Your own avidya, ignorance. And ignorance is a expression of or opposite of knowledge. So the antidote for ignorance is knowledge. Therefore, where there is knowledge, there is no ignorance, and where there is no ignorance, there is no delusion. You have the clear perception. You see things how they are. This is the antidote. At times it's getting technical, but but just bear with the text. All these words, all these terms will all fall in its place. So ignorance is the root from which stems the delusion, attachment delusion. Exactly, going back to the example, because the child did not know that there was a hose or a rope lying there, because of the ignorance of the hose, he created an illusory or a delusory snake, isn't it? Imagine he had knowledge of the rope or the hose. Would there be a snake? The question doesn't arise. Similarly, if you and I are endowed with this wisdom, there wouldn't be any delusion, there wouldn't be any attachment. We are all truly liberated. Well, that's our goal. Okay, let's move on. Let's take 36. Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamah sarvam jnanalpavenaiva vrijinam samtarishyasi. Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamah sarvam jnanalpavenaiva vrijinam santarishyasi. Now here it's so sweet of Lord Krishna to say this. So sweet of him. I tell you, the gurus go to what length to inspire us. Here he says, Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamah. The most sinful, papakrittamah, even the most sinful of all sinners, even if you are, you shall verily attain, you shall verily cross all sins by the raft of this knowledge. So he, by saying even the worst of all sinners, he has given all of us a very fair chance, isn't it? Very, very fair chance, because one of that level of being a sinner would not be here. So we're all way beyond that. So this perhaps is one of the most optimistic school of thought, one of the most optimistic verse, that there's very much a possibility that you can gain this wisdom and realize. Now here he gives the verse, what is the effect of this knowledge with reference to the mind? Now, whenever we get into this concept of sin, it makes you think. Now, what is your concept of sin vis-a-vis what is sin? It's perhaps very, very, a very dynamic concept, and it really makes you think. I hope I can convey the gist of it. See, firstly, what you and I should understand is sin is not in a performance of any particular action. Sin is not determined by an action. No action per se is right or wrong. You can't determine an action as right or wrong by the mere act of performance. You got to write that down. Please write that down, that no action is right or wrong per se. But the moment any action that you perform, if the action turns back, as it were, at you and starts insulting you, deep within you feel a sense of discomfort. I shouldn't have said that. Or I should have done that. Whether you would have or you wouldn't have, whatever be it. But the moment after an action, there is a certain repercussion, there's a certain consequence. If something hits you back, and if it hits you as an avalanche, that is very, very clear. It is wrong for you. It may not be wrong for me, but as far as you're concerned, it's wrong for you. So therefore, sin is not in what you do, sin is in the outcomes of whatever you have done. And you are the best judge whether you are being truthful or whether you have committed a sin. So therefore, sin is defined as mental agitations. As simple as that. As I said, the job of a teacher is to make it simple. I don't want to speak flowery language and confuse you all. It's very easy for me to do that. Sin is nothing but a mental agitation or a guilt or a remorse. I get some comments. Anything that hurts others. Brahma, Alkama, you are telling anything that hurts others. We're not talking of anything that hurts others. It's anything that hurts you. See, you could have found that temper or anger perhaps is the way of correcting another person. Let's say your driver. That guy is no discipline, has no value for time. And you have told him many number of times that you need to come on time. As simple as that. But that guy never heeds to your advice. At time comes, you have to make a hoo-ha about it. You will shout at him and say, if you come once more late, you will lose your job. I guarantee you that. You don't come, in fact, you pack your bags and go. You don't have to come back. You raise your voice. And thereafter, right after that, you go about attending to something very important without losing your cool. But you have actually used emotion, anger to correct a person. Because that was the only tone perhaps you could use to correct him. I would say there's nothing wrong with it. And you feel quite right because it was needed. That was a need. He should take a note of it. So it is not how you reach it, but having done that, if it hurts you, if you feel a certain guilt, then you are committed a sin. Now, let me take some comments. Apart from intellectual level, what are the other two levels in which effects of knowledge impact? Apart from intellectual level, yeah, this is what it is, ma. Annapurnama, the knowledge at the intellectual level, 35, 36 at the mental level, and the 37 at the level of vasanas. I'm sorry if I'm explaining the concept a little longer, but I can see the intentional anxiety with which you're asking. Once you have knowledge, you gain clarity at the intellect. At the mental level, you're free from agitations or sins. At the spiritual level, you're free from your vasanas. So this is the effect of knowledge at all three levels of the personality, 35, 36, 37. Okay. A further message from Alkama. She says, but some people have killed their conscience. So they are hardened and feel nothing even when they kill. Yes. How would you say that? How could you say that? If I may say this, how are you able to be a custodian of their conscience? Since when have I or you become custodian of others' conscience? Even a soldier does the same thing, isn't it? He goes about killing people at war, defending the country. And he goes and kills the enemies. What is the difference between the act of a soldier? He also is killing. Is the act of killing wrong? A patient may die in the hands of a doctor. Would you file a case against a doctor? Has a doctor committed a sin there? So what is it that protects or immunes you from committing a sin is your intention. Therefore, it is not the action that matters, but it is the intention that counts. Remember always, it is not the action that matters, it is the intention that counts. So what is the intention? And many a time you have to go about clarifying your intention to others. You say, no, I didn't mean that. Please don't get me wrong. The words may go wrong, but you would say, no, I didn't mean wrong that way, dear. Please don't misunderstand me. My intention was very pure. In fact, as Shakespeare says, I'm cruel only to be kind, he says. I'm sometimes cruel only to be kind. And it's very easy that you might lose the kind intention behind the cruel act. Don't get lost. Don't get carried away. So it's important for each one to judge what their intentions are. Okay. Lakshmima asking that this means having committed bad act, not feeling guilty about it is not having mental agitation. Having committed bad act and not feeling guilty. These two are contradictory terms. You say, I have done something wrong. And then you say, I don't feel guilty. Guilt only comes when there is knowledge of doing it, and then you don't do it. You know, I have the knowledge that I should not do it, and you do it. Then guilt comes. You know what protects your guilt? What is it that protects you from feeling guilty? I'm questioning not to challenge your understanding, please. I'm only trying to follow what Lord Krishna said in verse 34, Prashnena. You're questioning and I'm also questioning so that we have a healthy interaction of learning. That's about all. What is the question? Can somebody type the question for me? We have very good answers, but we don't remember the question. Yes, Vasantama, what is the question? Can you type? Yes, Srimati Kannanma typed correctly. What is it that protects you from feeling guilty? Correct. So what is what protects you from feeling guilty? Getting the right answers. It is your own ignorance. Your ignorance protects you from feeling guilty, but ignorance doesn't protect you from facing the consequences. Please understand that ignorance of the law is no excuse. You will be punished. The law punishes you. And the law is that you're not punished for the sin, you're punished by the sin. The law is you're not punished for the action, you're punished by your own action. And ignorance of your not knowing doesn't protect you from the consequences, does it? So you don't seek shelter in ignorance. You better learn these laws of life. You better learn these instructions. You can't seek, but ignorance only protects you from the mental trauma you go through. You don't feel, oh, I didn't know. Now, for example, this morning as I was coming to the Wisdom Center, I was driving a car and I just took the right and entered the lane which leads to the center. And there was a dog that was sleeping right on the center of the road and I didn't see it. And all I heard was a squeak and the dog ran away. I paused, I got down and I saw it was all well. Now what protected me is mental agitation is I did not know. I didn't know that. But let's say whatever suffering that creature has gone through, my ignorance is not going to protect me physically. I will face the consequences. I may not feel bad because I didn't intentionally hurt, but the fact that that innocent creature is hurt, I shall face the consequences. So sin is only at the mental level, please. Please try to frame it. Please try to limit the concept of sin. Sin is a mental feeling, whether you feel good about life or you feel bad about it. You do certain things. Who is to determine whether you're doing the right thing or not? Am I to determine how you should live your life? Or you to determine how I should live my life? Who is to determine? Whose standard should be followed? Each one has their own thing. After a certain level, you think, no, I think I've got too much. What? I've got 25 watches. Each watch is a private edition, limited edition, no, limited edition watch. And I have collected 25 watches. You feel good about it? At some stage you may say, no, what am I wasting so much money on it? Perhaps I can put it to better use. Now, who's to determine that? The lady is constantly complaining, why are you going about buying? So every time there's some new limited edition comes up, you go and buy it for what? From others' perspective, it is wrong. From your own perspective, you don't feel anything wrong about it. Go on. But the moment you feel uncomfortable, it's not how the world sees it, but you yourself know it is wrong. So okay, I hope that clarifies. Huh? Is there anything else? When your conscience allows you to do what you do, it protects you from feeling guilt. Your conscience is Krishna. Very well said. So ignorance is that which protects you from your guilt. Conscience is that which upholds your truthfulness. So the opposite of ignorance is your own conscience. So when you perform anything, even at the thought level, at any stage of your life, at any level, just go back, fall back on your conscience and say, am I doing the right thing? And the only thing you got to find out whether it is the voice of the conscience. Huh? Because there are many voices coming from within. There is a voice of the mind, there is the voice of your intellect, which is a conviction, and there's a voice of the conscience. So you need to be very sure it is the voice of the conscience. And when your conscience tells you, okay, you're not wrong. And therefore, he says, even the worst of sinners. Now here he is saying, even the worst of sinners, the most sinful of all, you shall verily cross all sins by the raft of knowledge. So he gives a very famous metaphor of a raft. In fact, in the Bhajagovindam also, there is a reference directly throughout the Shastras, there's a reference to this boat. Now, when I come back next week, I will give the analogy of a boat. It's a beautiful analogy. But I'm only giving you the reference. In Bhajagovindam also it appears. It says, Kate kanta dhanagata chinta vatula kim tava nasti niyanta trijagati sajjana sangati reka bhavati bhavarnava tarane nauka. It says tarane nauka, the boat. What is that boat? In the three worlds, Trijagati Sajjana Sangati Reka Bhavati Bhavarnava Tarane Nauka. It is the association with the good, the satsang, the right company. It is that which helps you to sail cross that sea of existence like a boat. So the Shastras have got a very famous metaphor. So when we come back next week, we'll get into the metaphor and then we'll go forward. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.